Hello and welcome back. Today we're continuing our USA run. Nothing funny business happening here. Definitely no funny business happening here. Last episode we went communists, which is why we're the United Syndicates of America, although we have yet to kind of update to the cooperative ownership. We're not going to do that quite yet because generally what you want to do is you actually want to pass macro before you make the swap, because when you pass macro you get access to the final company slot, and then when you lose a company slot for swapping off of laissez-faire, which you definitely did instead of interventionism, then you don't actually deslot the company. And we're probably going to slot in a bunch of American companies, I decided, even if they're not the very best in slot for us, just as a little bit of RP funness. Now, also, what we're going to be doing, or what happened last episode, is we got our first reverse sway for a full Chinese province, which was incredible. We got Hainan, and then, obviously went communist. But that sway was something that, maybe China's not involved in that many plays, so maybe this is the wrong example, but you don't see it too often. Maybe we should have never freed Korea, because Korea, with lack of market access to the Qing market, would have had trouble, maintaining stability or this type of thing. Interesting to see Xi Li enter in the Russian market, but this is the state of the affairs of the market. We're really relying a lot on market migration. We're trying to do this low infamy for now. I think that what we'll do is when we get the full communist thing, everyone's going to leave our market, and then there's not much incentive to stay low infamy. To be fair, the low infamy is more of an RP thing or a stylistic thing. I don't like playing high infamy. And so we might take a little bit of a turn, especially because the one U.S. company that's actually, or there is a U.S. company that's quite strong that actually incentivizes you to go high infamy. And let's see if we can find it really quick. The U.S. companies are kind of at the very bottom, so we'll roll down, and that's the United Fruit Company, which gives you less infamy decay. So you would never slot this in when you're going low infamy, but 20% plantations throughput, that's a really strong prosperity modifier, and will end up giving you 40% throughput on both the sugar and the bananas. And so that's a little bananas, and so we might be doing that. We might be going high infamy. We'll see how it feels, other than slow, because it definitely does feel slow. It's definitely chugging. We chugging here. And truly, this is a sad day. The great Andrew Carnegie, who we have been relying on for some time because he has a literary trait which gives infamy decay, he has perished. He is vertically integrated into the great above. And now, just as Nietzsche said, capitalism is dead, and we have killed him. So really excited for Spheres of Influence, which a dev diary appeared to indicate that in instances like this, where the Japanese have the Japanese proletarian revolt, you will be able to side with either side of the revolution, which would be fantastic, because we would much rather side with the proletarian revolt. Unfortunately, we can't. We can't just side with them and have them win. Japan's our subject, and so now we have to put down the proletarian revolt, even though obviously we're going in that direction with the United Syndicates of America. AutoQ, of course, going absolutely wild, building all of these power plants in Hainan, which we don't necessarily super hate, but it's just gonna, I guess, keep adding more and more and more, even though there isn't a baseline, nor is there any demand for electricity beyond the demand that is levied or put forward by POPs. Maybe this is a driver of why the AutoQ kind of goes ballistic, is that there's POP demand, because the POP sees it in our market, even though there's no local electricity in Hainan, because this is the province we just took, and we're trying to get it up and going. This is why we've also added 30 construction sectors here. There's a bunch of unemployed POPs. This is actually the fastest way to employ like 150k POPs, and on top of that, we want the construction efficiency here, because we're going to be building a whole bunch of stuff here. So this makes a lot of sense for us to do this, because we're going to be absolutely blasting. We're also putting in, 11 universities, and by 11 I mean 21, and so this will help with the qualifications, a bunch of railways. We'll put some more railways at the back of this, but really we're going to need a bunch of stuff here in Hainan, and we want to get it going. We also want the POPs to continue exodusing. This is fine for us, because they're emigrating to places like Montana, which has Han cultural communities. which is going to be good for us. We have like a cultural community down here. It's a little bit hard to see, but you can see Montana and Minnesota are both cultural communities, and so they will be exodusing to there, which is fine for us, but we do want to kind of do our best to get rid of this 1 million unemployment, which is basically the entire unemployment of our country. So, yeah. Dear God, what has the auto queue done? It's used up all of our freaking infra that we had dedicated to that we had created with the railroads. And this is what it does, is it just like decides, hey, we're gonna use up every little piece of infrastructure possible. Just because. So we are using a trick in Hainan in order to force employment, which is, they have a ton of available employment. The problem is all on qualifications. We swapped back to a PM that uses merchant guilds, which is hand-sewn clothes, and the entire purpose of this is that the qualifications needed for the workers are just laborers and shopkeepers, which are much, much easier to meet. And so once we hit this, then we'll just swap the PMs back to like kind of a good one, and you'll see that employment can come on up. This is a really strong kind of play pattern, especially in very backward countries where you have qualification problems. You swap back to something that uses merchant guild ownership, and then when we swap up to electric sewing clothes, which we will, the pops that are currently working in here, which are just laborers, much more easily convert to being laborers and machinists and this type of stuff when they're already employed in the facility, as well as, you know, being able to get capitalists. Capitalists is often what you get stuck on, and shopkeepers are easier to employ, and shopkeepers promote capitalists much more easily. So Italy, easily the strongest GP other than us, mainly because there's not too many GPs other than us, has started embargoing us, which is a bit interesting. I think that this is going to collapse their economy, but we'll see. If they have a rev, we might have a tasty situation or option, because we haven't fought Italy, which means we can sway onto the side of their subject if their subject is swayable. Or not subject, but the revolution. So Bengal finally blinks and does something about anything. They are going for Nepal. We don't really care what they do. We just care that we can reverse sway into here. So we're gonna side with Nepal, and then we're gonna see what we can get. We can get a bankroll, or we could get transfer states. We could get Malaya or Tarasim. We're not anywhere near being able to get North Bengal. North Bengal would be an absolute banger. I don't think we're going to go for Malaya or Tarasim. Either of these I don't think is worth. I think we are just going to drain them dry with a bankroll, which is based on our income, which probably makes them collapse immediately. We have 3.6 billion GDP. It's based off our tax rate, and it's really not about the fact that this is going to get us money. We don't really care about the amount of money that, well, I mean, we kind of care because the bankroll will be substantive, but the important thing is that this will just instantly bankrupt them and give us opportunities to get them into our customs union / they will just completely collapse, and maybe we can get them as a subject. Really wish this happened earlier because they have an enormous amount of population, and with this population that they have, we could siphon it off if we pull them into either being a subject or a customs union. Again, this would have been all so much faster if we had gotten the Heavenly Kingdom to form at some point in time, but we have to be a little bit careful here. I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to make our government illegitimate. The reason we're going to make our government illegitimate... Oh no. Oh god. The reason we are making our government illegitimate is so that we don't pass cooperative ownership, so that it stalls out. The reason being is we definitely want to research macroeconomics first, but as I was saying, this bankroll that we are getting from them is just going to be absolutely enormous. We're getting a Diplopact of 240. This bankroll is probably going to be somewhere in the realm of 1.5 million, and so this is like just an enormous portion of their economy. They only have a GDP of 75 million. This is going to crush them. They'll have to delete flotillas and battalions. They'll decay down to major power, maybe even minor. We'll see what happens. Alright, it is time, baby. It's time for us to think of many things and think of which, well, 0 days left. Okay, well, maybe it's not time. Maybe we gotta wait for another a week. Alright, so we get macroeconomics unlocked, which is going to be super nice. +1 max level company. We, of course, were waiting for this. We are going to slot out a few companies that we, well, first of all, we're going to take a look at what companies we want to slot in, and then we'll think about which ones we want to slot out. We're going to go for American companies. In theory, I think, I think that probably a best in slot thing for us would involve maybe the Kaiping Mining Company, but we're going to leave it on the table for now. Okay, so we are going to slot in the Standard Oil because oil has started to become relevant, and it's our oil is expensive, and so this is going to be useful for us. So we're going to slot in Standard Oil, which makes Compañía de Salitres y Ferrocarril de Antofagasta quite a bit worse because now it's effectively just kind of a sulfur company. We really won't need that much throughput on the railways because we're also going to be getting an additional 20% here in addition to this 20%, and so we're going to disband this one. We're also, construction's really not that useful. We're also going to disband Empresas Electricias Asociadas. This company I think is really, really good overall, but the state construction efficiency is not quite as good, and there's an American company we could slot in instead. And so what we're going to go for is we are going to go for General Electric. I still kind of like having the throughput bonus on the power plants. A lot of power plants are at lower levels, and when something is at a lower level, the throughput is more valuable. But on top of this, we will be getting motor industries building throughput, which is pretty nice, and also the bonuses both on construction and throughput on electronics and electrics industries, of which we have kind of a lot of low-level ones, and so we're going to put in there on that. And then we will be able to slot in another company. We are going to slot in, I think, the evil company, the bad company, which is going to make us kind of want to do high infamy stuff anyways here, but that is United Fruit Company. And then we have the Ford Motor Company as well here, and we will have a little bit of a decision, but we do want to put in the United Fruit Company, which unfortunately is going to, once it becomes prosperous, which it is not currently, it's going to give us minus an infamy, decay, malice, which is not what we want. And now we have a little bit of a think. I think that we need to take because there's two companies left that maybe we can find a better thing in slot for. We do not have a better tooling workshop company, but we could maybe splash for something else if we think that the throughput will be more valuable on a different company. We're going to take a look through. But this company here, we could find, we could look for something that's going to be a little bit better in terms of bringing in lead, because this is effectively giving us a company for lead and a kind of a little bit of a boost on iron. We're going to take a look through. This might be the final 6, but we're going to take another look through all the companies and see what maybe is going to be a good one. But we're trying to lean into the American companies just a little bit more than we otherwise would. So maybe we do Ford Motor Company in exchange for one of these companies here. Kind of running a little bit low on lead though, so we'll have to have a think. We decided to go with the companies that we kind of had already slotted up, and we're just going to cruise for now. I think that, once the United Fruit Company kicks in, we might just go high infamy, because this modifier, it will get under my skin if we do anything, if we try and play low infamy. So we might shoot for the moon, but I just wanted to look at us making 10 million. I don't even know why 10 million is actually, that's obscene. Wait, what's it all coming from? Surely our taxes didn't increase. Why did our income taxes go up? We raised our income taxes. That's right, we raised our income taxes to make ourselves illegitimate, and so this is why our income's so high. But also, look at the size of this bankroll. 3 milli, baby. 3 million. Now, we could drain them dry as quickly as possible just by keeping the taxes high, and to be honest, we're about to get cooperative ownership anyways. We're going to lower the taxes, but we're going to probably re-raise because our target is to keep the lower strata at about 20 SOL, and so if they increase over 20 SOL, we're just going to crank the taxes up to max, looking to keep them in kind of the band that will give us the most pop growth. This is the biggest strata. We're not as worried about the middle strata kind of having population or an SOL higher than what's optimal for pop growth, because if we take a look, there's twice as many lower strata, or a little more than twice as many lower strata as middle strata. So this is going to be the strategy, and we're waiting on cooperative ownership to pass, and we're waiting for kind of like the last few opportunities we have in terms of doing any sort of reverse sways where people view us as good. And what we will be doing before we pass cooperative ownership, before this next tick, we will be searching for anyone who's willing to join the customs union, and we will probably be giving them anything they want in order to join, stuff like this. So like Netherlands, if we owe them an obligation, they'll do it. This makes it so we can't side against them, boo-hoo, but we're going to pull them into the customs union that they would want to immediately leave, both when we pass cooperative ownership, but also when we go high infamy, if we go high infamy. Not 100% sure. If no one leaves the customs union, maybe we stick around, but if people start leaving, then we're gonna throw around some baby rage. Alright everyone, it's dark communist America time. We are going to immediately go to a single party state. Elections, we don't need those. Let's see, we don't need those at all. Wait, why can't we pass single party state? Who we need? The Industrialists like it, and the Southern Planters like it. Well, that's unfortunate. But I guess some of our darkness will have to wait. But we will also swap to collective. Wait, why can't we swap collectivize? Really? Real? I suppose we could swap homesteading, but alright, as far as the laws pass, the darkness is not as dark as we had hoped. But as far as demands and all this, well, actually, let's sit back and see. Let's sit back and see how many people just leave our market. So this is the state of the market right now. We're expecting people to leave our market because this is how it always plays out. This is how it always happens. I guess since the game is progressing so slow, maybe we can't do this in real time. We do get the Banana Republic achievement though, which is big nice for us. So interestingly, not many or no one that we can see has left our market yet, which is not what we were expecting, but pulling people into our market is now basically impossible because of the -50 malice that you get for having incompatible economic systems. For example, well, that's not a good example. For example, in Invite to Customs Union, they really don't want to join because they're antagonistic, but we have this -50 modifier for all kind of new incoming sort of economic systems. So once you go communist, you never go back. And also, we have the United Fruit Company, which does mean we have to be a bad boy. This does, this -25% infamy decay, I mean, it's technically offset by the modifier of our leaders, so we could keeping on, but I also think it's funny to go just, like, on a rampage after we go communist. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start reducing autonomy on everyone. And, ooh, these guys don't even accept, naturally? Okay, well, ooh, these guys don't accept either. Is this acceptance chance... is it affected by the fact that we're communist? Because I thought that they had accepted before. Huh. Well, I'm thinking we just do this on everyone we can, and then we look to... Well, actually, we're so close to 500 million. Maybe we wait and we chill to 500 million. I know I'm waffling. I apologize, guys. Alright, so we invited this lovely boyo, Benjamin Barrios, who's going to help us to pass some laws. He's going to help us to pass... oh, it doesn't even change our ruler? Okay, it does change our ruler. So we lost that absolute banger of a dude who was kind of the absolute perfect for us when we were low infamy. That was previous times. We're no longer going to have a literary, but instead we're going to be able to pass, collectivized agriculture, which is what we want to do. And after this, we will wait for one election to pass, so the parties reform, and then we'll pass single-party state, because vanguardists do support single-party state. So we will be able to make that swap from universal suffrage to single-party state, which will be big nice. It'll give us a ton of authority with which to rampage through everywhere. Now, we could why don't we get started, but just not go over 100 infamy? And by not go over 100 infamy, I mean, let's just go over 100 infamy. I know we waffled more than anyone could possibly waffle. We are just going to reduce autonomy on every single person who's going to accept, which is probably going to be quite a lot of people. And then once we're done with that, then we will try and do something. Oh my god. No, not the Brunswickian proletarian revolt. But that might crimp our ability to annex someone. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay. But these guys, I realize, they became rebellious because we went communist, and that's why they are no longer willing to reduce autonomy for freezies, good dealsies, which is fine. Fine enough for us. Cambodia, now we can reduce on, except we can't. And then I think Liberia, ooh, no, these guys are Sweden. Okay, and so then, Mexico's been a thorn in our side for long enough. We are going to go after them, or we are going to acquire ourselves a hat. I think we're going to acquire the hat, because the hat will not kick us over 100 infamy, and this means we won't have to deal with the cut down to size play. Let's double check our infamy. Okay, so it's at 50, so the hat will not require it, so we're going to protectorate the hat. Big, nice, big hat. It didn't matter because we put in a bunch of conquest CBs, so we're over 100 infamy anyways. But we see we see the South German Fed try to step up and fight France. But not only France, but also Prussia and Austria are in here as well. Obviously, we're not going to let them unify unless there's this. Oh my god, I think we're supposed to give up this war so we could yo-yo sway this and lose all of our subjects, but make them a protectorate with all this stuff annexed, because they will be mega Germany? Is that what we're supposed to do? Jesus. That's certainly the funniest thing to do. Now, why can't we... Okay, wait. Yeah, we would have to exit all of our other plays. Which includes this nonsense with Canada. So we'd have to return British Ontario, unfortunately. Or they might just back down. They might just back down? I don't know. It's the darkest wee-woos for the darkest hour. The darkest wee-woos. Okay, we actually have a truce with France, so unfortunately we can't side and get mega Germany by siding with, you know, South German Fed against our subjects, which is big sad. We're not a huge fan of that. That's unfortunate. They do have cut down to size, humiliate Russia, all this types of stuff. We're gonna see about siding with them, because we really don't want to randomly lose our subjects in this war if this war somehow goes belly up. Which is going to be a little bit interesting. It's going to make also so France and Russia can't cut us down to size in an immediate fashion, and that Russia and Spain rather are going to be, well, France can't cut us down to size while this is going on, and Spain and Russia will have a truce with us, so getting a truce when we're just starting the high infamy stuff is actually not too bad. So what we're going to do is we're first going to give up Brunswick. You know what? Not going to be our subject anymore, because we need to do this in order to decide on the play, and then we're going to see what type of sway we can do. Just kind of a normal sort of sway. Actually, war goals. Can we protectorate South German Fed? Yeah, let's go, baby. Alright. Let's do it then. Right? We should just do the highest infamy thing, and this is probably the biggest play that we can make. They're not going to give us a state, and an obligation's really not that useful, so considering we're high infamy anyways, let's just protectorate South German Fed, unless they only have like 3 useful states. But they have a few. I think they unified with Saxony right now, though, so if they get cut down to size, maybe we're just supposed to go for just Bavaria. Interesting. We're gonna subjugate them, I think, though. Alright. War goals. Protectorate, the dear boyo. It's wild that they can launch this play as a minor power, but they can. But we'll just go for that. So the annexation of some of the territories within Canada will probably have us hitting this 500 million mark, or half a billy. SOL is kind of out of control, increasing really, really high, and we actually have been trying to keep it down low by increasing taxes to deal with this, although we are now doing high government wages and high military wages because we don't want to depress the economy too much, so maybe that's a little bit schizophrenic, but in particular we are trying to curb down on some of the wages of the non-government issued or owned stuff. They, for whatever reason, don't want to give up the bag. I don't really know why, but when they do, eventually, which molasses, we will be hitting 500 million. So that will be the thing. Are we just frozen? Oh my god. It do be like that when you have a ton of armies and navies just zipping around in these plays. It appears that we have failed, and the goal is impossible. Alright, so we reloaded, and this is like the slowest week of all time, but it actually is progressing. I think this is actually the literal slowest we've ever seen the game, and we're just right. You see it progress tick, and will there be another tick? Oh, there's another tick. And so, just on the cusp of success, we do have to wait probably five-ish minutes for this next week to pass. Big nice. Hey, 500 milli, baby. There we go. There we go. This is a result of there just being so many armies and there being a ton of battles and a ton of naval battles and a ton of calculations occurring, as far as I can tell. So we're gonna try and push through this a little bit, but I do think a big part of it is every little German miner has a battalion, and it's trying to calculate and keep track of all of these. But this is literally the slowest we've ever had the game. And if it's not faster after this war, we will stop. This is literally the only time I've gotten up, I used the bathroom, I got something to eat, since the last thing, and we've just been leaving this running, and this is the state of affairs. Because we're in no danger of losing this war at all. Certainly not at this pace, at least. So the lag cleared up after the end of that war, and we also annexed Prussia here, which was kind of just not too big a deal, so we didn't mention it. But now we have an opportunity to sway in to fight against Bengal in exchange for Bengal becoming a subject. Or the Bengali capitalist revolt, so we'll do the sway, we'll do the things, and we will get in there for free for a Bengal for free, which is going to be really good for us in terms of migration. Obviously, we already achieved the objective, but this is just gravy, and so we will be mobilizing one of our armies and we'll be mobilizing a couple armies and sending them. They, of course, accept. Now, do we have any adjacency with Egypt? We do have some adjacencies with Egypt, so we'll also send over there, knowing that we are going to have to fight Egypt in this war, but should overall be not too big a deal. And Bengal, when unified, because we're going to unify under the capitalist revolt, terrible, when they are unified, this is going to represent a huge amount of population that we can siphon off, like over 50 million, really, just taking a look at some of the pops, it's Great Qing, it's Russia, and then Japan, who's a subject, Awad, who's in here, and then it's going to be, both the Bengals are going to be around here kicking somewhere, so this will be really nice for us. I just wanted to note that there's two revolutions happening. There's the proletarian revolution over here, or this is the religious revolt, rather. There's the proletarian Portuguese revolt, and I think this is largely a result of everyone leaving our customs union, or a bunch of people leaving our customs union, and us kicking out a bunch of trade routes to cause there to be less lag, hopefully, ideally, and this is causing a lot of damage. Also, we raided Spain's convoys into oblivion during that war against them, and the same with Russia, and so it does make sense that the Russian, subject and the Spanish subject and the Portuguese are in the customs union, definitely kind of having a little bit of revolts. It looks like Italy's doing pretty well though. I think this is going to be the last war of the run. I was thinking that maybe we look to try and push this pop number even more. But if we don't do another episode, I'll have to think about whether or not we want to do one. We do want to have one last march of the Florida men, so we're going to raise the conscripts here. Now, this minus 100 is not a concern, because they have to enforce on us, because this is our subject, and so we will raise these 5,000 conscripts, which will collapse our economy very, very quickly, and they will raise very, very quickly, and they will push very, very quickly the army of the Florida men. The Florida men go marching in. Hurrah, hurrah. And, that's, okay, we have 22, 14, 22. All right. I see you. Let's see what we get on the Monday tick. Let's see Paul Allen's Florida army. Ooh, plus 200 battalions. Let's go, baby. I'm guessing every Monday we'll get, like, plus several hundred battalions. But this is also going to, let's see, the goods for military buildings. Let's take a look. Okay. I'm guessing this is going to need to update again on Monday, and it's going to fly up based on our kind of new usage. We're at 479k, and it's kicking up. I guess it's not that big. To be fair, most of our usage right now is actually in, ironclads, because we don't actually have a very large standing army. We just have the army of the Florida men with which to scare our opponents. But now that's like, that's a lot of dudes, my guys. That's a lot of dudes, my guys. So we'll very quickly push them out here, and then we'll, of course, stand the Florida men down, if we can. But this is, look at our convoys, though. Our convoys have, like, suddenly, some fly routes have just, like, cranked up. It's gonna crank up every time. There's, like, every single time Monday we go, it's, like, plus another 150 Florida men. The terror. The horror. And then this is, like, 1k. I don't even think this is actually helping us push at this point, because we would actually want it to stop here. We would want the madness to stop, but, I guess we'll continue the last march of the Florida men. In any case, this will be over really quick because Bengal's occupied, and they're going to accept. Oh, we forgot the NCO training on our Florida men. You can never forget about the NCO training on your Florida men. So now they will all start upgrading to NCOs as well, which is going to dramatically. What was that war even? Okay, which will also dramatically increase the combat power, but it's not gonna, like, it doesn't matter. We're getting in either way. We just have to push in here. Holy lag. And we will do that real quick with our, like, 400,000 battalion Florida men advancing. It is quite nice to be able to have this absolute huge, like, battalion you can just stick on a front with just one guy in it, and the one guy is just so you can maneuver it around while it's mobilized before you raise the conscripts. And look at that, plus 230. Egypt gets enforced on. They were in that war, but yeah, this is over for them. Alright, with what we had raised up for this army, it was starting to get pretty expensive on, like, 3xing our military goods cost. We could, of course, just stand it down, but this strategy is just so strong with the conscript things. It's so much power, like, if you actually need it, which we haven't throughout this run really needed to mobilize them that much, but there's just so much power if you, like, actually want to do it. Now, something I did want to point out is Bengal, now not South Bengal yet, but these pops are just flooding into our country as well, with the annual projected being like 250,000, which is part of why we're cranking up so high. Bengal's going to be a really nice addition for the purposes of, you know, getting as much pop as possible. But I think we're going to conclude the episode and the run here, you know, with that little last march of the Florida men. There's still, like, a lot of stuff to do. I mean, wait, why did they subjugate them? Okay, well, we might be able to yo-yo sway here, but it doesn't matter. Probably for boho, to be honest. If we could, but I think we're going to conclude here, so, because it's getting really slow, and we hit the main objective of 500 million, and so, just wanted to review over some of the stuff. Also, I just wanted to comment, I haven't mentioned this throughout the run, but really kind of kicking myself for not founding the Confederation of the Rhine, because otherwise we have had so many opportunities to get these tiny little German miners and just merge them with Confederation of the Rhine if we had Confederation of the Rhine. So really, really regret not turning Prussia into the Confederation of the Rhine when we had the opportunity earlier in the run. Kind of a bit of a miss, because we would have been able to make them a puppet and then just merge everyone, including Austria, and we would have just had a massive Confederation of the Rhine spanning basically what would have likely been eventually just all of Germany, and so that's a bit unfortunate. But for prestige, we are like 10x the next guy in Italy, and Italy hasn't been messed with once. They've been kind of untouched this run. They're kind of the only... Actually, Italy and Spain are kind of both kind of untouched. We didn't really mess around with them kind of at any point in time, and they're both reasonably strong, but like the next biggest GDP is 98 million, which is our subject, or 74 million, which is our subject, or 66 million in Qing. Qing is a minor power, so Qing can be, or unrecognized regional power, so if we continued, we would just subjugate and annex Qing before the end date. Barely before the end date, but that would probably be the next war if we were really trying to maximize pop, but in terms of playing high infamy. I don't know why I did that. But just way out in front of everyone, and SOL really, really high. Our GDP per capita is almost certainly number one. GDP is number one. I forget how do you... Here. GDP per capita is number one. We're 2 ahead of Tasmania, which has just got, kind of... their GDP per capita is probably inflated because of gold. SOL cranked up really high after we did Council Republic, despite us running max taxes, and we could do a bunch of consumption taxes on, like, groceries and stuff like that to try and intentionally depress SOL if we wanted to grow as much as possible. This would actually kind of probably be the strategy. Just look, just like a actual reverse of how you normally play, where we would just like tax services and groceries that in order to try and bring down the SOL closer to 20 so that they would have more pop growth, which is kind of an interesting play pattern. Here's the pop graph over time. You see several little step-ups. Almost all the step-ups are just like us taking one Chinese state, although we did get a nice little hit from taking Germany. I think they had like 8 or 9 million, but it's like less than a Chinese state. We would be able to annex the UK soon too. Here, let's take a look at the market, which should be kind of in shambles. Really surprised that these guys didn't bail, actually. All these guys over here and these guys here. Really, that's a little bit of an interesting one for me. We would probably subjugate Mexico pretty quickly here, and Nicaragua, and take over this in exchange to kind of be able to link up the market to reduce the convoy cost. But the convoy cost isn't too big a deal anymore anyways, because we are stopping trading, basically. I think we only had, this is our trade routes. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. It does help out, YouTube algorithm thing. And other than that, have a Florida man.
Now, children, I was asked to bring a healthy snack, so join me in the hall for swine livers and Capri Suns.